it's Kelly here from Spiritual Awakening Signs, and I help people like you who are going through awakening to reduce your symptoms and make that whole process much easier. And we're doing that today in our video, which is the intuition Q&A. So come along, ask your questions, find out what it is you want to know about intuition, because it's a pretty broad topic and there are a lot of questions there that sometimes don't really have structured answers, but we're going to get into all of that today, and we're going to start with a few key questions that have been submitted that we can answer just to get started. And if there's anything that you would like to ask, just pop it in the comments below. There are no silly questions whatsoever. It's such an interesting topic, and it's something that when you really lean into it and start to develop it, it can just open up this whole new spiritual world for you. And it doesn't make things perfect, but it can sure make things a lot easier, that's for sure. So let's get into that now, and if you guys just submit your questions below as we're talking. If there's something you want to clarify, just do so, and I'll answer some more questions at the end. So let's get into it. So the first question would be, let's make it really simple. What is intuition? What does that actually mean? Because we use that a lot, intuitive, but what does it really mean? Well, it's about understanding or knowing instinctively. So it's about being able to know through the spiritual senses. It's not about logic, it's not about reason, it's not about using the usual 5 senses that you would use to deduct information. It's about just knowing within. And that can happen in many different ways. It can be that a sign shows up in your world and you see it externally. It can be that you hear messages, you perceive it with the sound. It could be you overhear a conversation that answers your question. It could be you hear music lyrics. Maybe the thought pops into your head. A lot of us, it's just an intuitive thing. Claircognizance, it's just, you just know, and the answer's just there, and it's like, wow. We all have different ways of understanding our intuitive senses, and a lot of that can be just feeling it, just having the feeling within that it's just, you know what's going to happen. You know what you need to look out for. You know who might be a suspicious character that maybe you shouldn't trust. It's in there. And if that isn't the experience that you're having right now, don't worry, because we've got a free resource at the end that we're going to share with you that will help you to develop that confidently, to be able to trust your intuition confidently, which is just such an exciting thing to learn. But that's really what intuition is. It's knowing without having the ability, with modern understanding of how you should know, but you just know. So probably the second question that would be a good one to answer is intuition reliable? Well, intuition can be really reliable. Thank you for all the love, guys. I really appreciate that. Intuition can be really reliable, and I feel it takes practice, and it takes, there are a few steps that you might need to be able to learn how to really confidently trust that, and how to know for certain when you're getting answers, and that's covered in our free masterclass, which I'll share at the end. But it's something that you need to practice a little bit, and then you'll get into that space where it is reliable and where you understand yourself and you understand your intuitive gifts, that you know how they work, you know what this symbol means, you know what that means when that shows up in your life, you know what that feeling is in your gut. You start to understand how to actually use your senses to your benefit, and to use it like a map. It's like, okay, I've seen this sign before, and the last time that happened, that was a don't go there. The last time I saw this sign, the last time I got that feeling, this is the experience I had, and now I know I can trust it. And that just comes with practice. But if you can open up those intuitive senses first and foremost, and really get into it, really have the fun and the joy and the excitement of all the coincidences and synchronicities, it's just fantastic. Then you're going to be in a space where it's fun to learn to use your intuitive gifts, and you're gaining that experience as time goes on. And that's what really makes you what I would consider to be a seasoned medium or a seasoned psychic. You've had the experience to where you get a little roadmap. It's like, yeah, I remember what that means. I know how my intuitive senses perceive that, and this is what this means. It might not mean that to someone else, but I know what it means for me. So that's really what it's all about. So intuition can become incredibly reliable. I absolutely trust my intuition entirely, absolutely entirely. Even if sometimes the messages that come up don't quite make sense at first, they always are revealed to us. Now, the challenge is you can learn to completely trust and have your intuition be reliable, but initially it's not likely to be that way, particularly if you're going through awakening. Now, we cover this in the free masterclass that I'm going to link below. You need to be aware that when you go through spiritual awakening, it seriously messes with your intuition, because it starts to change all the rates and all the levels and all the functioning of all your psychic senses, all your intuitive senses. And for a while, because they're aiming to heighten and raise in vibration so that they are more effective, it kind of throws everything out of balance. And it can mean that your messages are kind of incoherent, they don't really make sense, or they feel absolutely certain and you follow it and somehow it's wrong, and you're left feeling really jumbled and confused and doubting your ability. Well, please don't. Just know that when you go through awakening, it does have a tendency to jumble up that intuition in a really big way, and that it can be resolved. Absolutely, you can learn to trust your intuition, but initially when spiritual awakening is happening, we would advise don't make decisions solely on your intuition until all those levels have leveled out. And like I said, we cover all this in the masterclass. It's all about how awakening changes our intuitive senses, okay? So we've got another question here that I'm going to answer, and then I'll take some questions from you guys. So anything you want to know about intuition, please ask it below, and I'll cover it at the end. So the next question would be, how do you improve your intuition, so that you can confidently trust it? How do you really develop that? Well, the great news that I can tell you is that if you're going through spiritual awakening, your intuition has already improved hugely. Sometimes it can improve tenfold. I know that after awakening, I couldn't believe how much more acute my intuitive senses were. So the first thing that you need to know is that just by going through a spiritual awakening, your intuition is already improved. So it's not really about development, it's about honing that skill so that you can trust it no matter what, without hesitation, without question, without becoming paralysed in the process or stuck between your head and your heart. It's just not, I know within myself that this is the right answer. And you will get to that. Now, what we've got is a really special 3-step process on how to ask questions, how to get answers, and how to know for sure that they are accurate. And we cover that in the masterclass, and we break it all down for you so that you can understand, and then we take you through it so that you know exactly what to do, because it's a really simple process, but it is kind of a lost art. We've kind of in many ways become disconnected from the handbook that we used to use to trust our intuition, to use all those psychic skills. And that's what I'm aiming to do here in these videos, is to share that information so that you have access to that all the time. There's no reason why you shouldn't. It is your birthright, it's a part of your soul. It's part of who you are, that inner knowing. It's just about reactivating it and resetting those energies now that awakening has taken place, because it does throw things out of alignment a little bit, and you can make fantastic improvements and really use that intuition in a powerful way. It's very exciting. Like I said, the masterclass link is below. Go and watch it now. Please go and watch it. It is the most valuable information we've ever shared about learning to confidently trust your intuition. And of course, it's just such an exciting topic. Who wouldn't want to learn that? It's just so fun. Okay, so let's see what kind of questions we've got. And if you have any as you're watching now, please do submit them. Even if you're watching and it's afterwards and it's not live anymore, that's okay. Okay, so we've got a great question here from Sandra, and I can see there's one standing out to me that she's asked that's really relevant. So Sandra says, how do I know how to listen to in my head? Now, I get that, because sometimes, depending on how your intuitive senses work, it might work as sound. So, you know, the sound pops into your ear, or an image or a thought or a word, or the answer just pops into your head. The best way to learn who to listen to and who to trust is actually to kind of set the question back out again. So instead of going solely within, where you're not quite sure how to use that skill yet, you're not quite sure if you can trust it, what you want to do is say, okay, universe, this is what I've heard. Is this correct? Show me yes or no. Give me signs and show me yes or no. And you can say that out loud. Is this correct? Show me. And what I like to do is I like to ask the universe to show me 3 times in quick succession. So that means if I see a number sequence, and over maybe a week or a few days I see it 3 times in a row, or you know, maybe it's an animal sign or something, but you don't need to crush it by asking for the specific sign. You just need to say, universe, give me a sign. Is that the correct message? Show me. show me. And over the next few days to a week, you'll find that the answer shows up. So look for repetition in your external world. And that means that you're not, sometimes we're not sure, because it's like you get a message and it's like, but am I mixing that in with fears, or is that my past experience, or is my brain interfering with the message? We'll put it external. Ask the universe to confirm or tell you it's a no on whatever it is. That's the best way to do it. And the universe will always give you signs, but you have to look out for the repetition. And again, we cover that in the masterclass. Please don't miss it. It's like the best one we've ever done. I'm confident of that. Brilliant. Let's see what other questions we've got. So Tanika says, when it comes to listening to our intuition, how can we really know whether that feeling or insight is coming through an ego perception as opposed to the soul or divine perception? That is a fantastic question. Well, the challenge that we've got is when we first go through awakening, our psychic senses get switched on to the highest level they've ever been. So all of a sudden this intuition is through the roof with the ability that we have. But what also happens at the same time is that all our emotional wounding, all the issues of the soul rise up to the surface. And when that happens, it tends to filter the information that we're getting. And that's why we're sharing this 3-step process in the masterclass at the link below, is because the information then gets mixed up. It's almost like it's coming through the filter of all the fears, all the issues, all the worries, all the psychic blocks that we have as souls. It comes right up to the surface. So that can make getting messages really quite difficult. It can make it challenging to know what to trust. But if you take a look at the masterclass, and I say that because we break it down in so much more information, you'll actually be able to use our 3-step system that will guide you through being able to tell really if you're getting a true sign, and being able to confirm it outside of yourself, outside of the ego. You're going to let the universe speak to you instead. So take a little look at that. Right, let's see. Now, does anyone else have any last minute questions before we finish up for today? I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I'll give you a second just to ask any more. But if you're watching live, remember you can click below to be notified whenever we go live. And if you're watching on YouTube, please, please, please subscribe to our channel so that you can get all the new content and all the new videos that we're doing, more like this. Energy healings, meditations, information on spiritual awakening, you name it, we'll be sharing it. So please do subscribe, we really appreciate it. I don't think we've got any more questions, but if anyone catches it later and you have something that you'd like to ask, you can do so. Just pop it in the comments below. Thank you so much for all the love and the likes, guys. We really, really appreciate it here at Spiritual Awakening Signs. Have a great day and tune into that intuition and find your way to let the universe speak to you. Go and watch that masterclass right now. Don't wait, and let's get you realigned with your intuition, being able to confidently trust it. It's a very exciting time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.